3, 2, 1. And everything they built under false confidence implodes. You can almost hear it, the fragile foundations of their illusion cracking under the weight of your return. The whispers, the schemes, the smug certainty that you'd never make it this far, all reduced to static. You didn't just survive their world, you rewired it. You pulled every string they thought belonged to them, and now they're trapped inside the web you quietly spun while they were laughing. Every empire has its expiry date, and you just signed theirs. They don't know whether to bow or run. They stare at you with that hollow disbelief reserved for ghosts and legends because they can't decide which one you are. They built their legacy on borrowed power, counterfeit respect, and loud desperation. But you built yours in silence, precision, and proof. While they were buying crowns, you were manufacturing thrones. You didn't need their approval. You turned their rejection into capital, their doubt into drive. Every mockery became a deposit, every betrayal an investment. You weaponized patience until it matured into dominance. And now the debt is due. The markets they controlled, shifting in your favor. The alliances they trusted, defecting to your side. The narrative they owned, rewritten by your name. This isn't luck. This is architecture. You constructed an empire so quietly that by the time they noticed, you were already sitting on top of it. They mistook your stillness for defeat, not realizing that kings don't shout during strategy. They whisper before the strike. And tonight, you struck. The tables flipped, the board cleared, and the new order began with your initials etched in gold where theirs once were. For years, they treated you like a side character in their dynasty. But now the audience has turned their heads, and the camera refuses to leave your face. You are the headline, the climax, the aftershock. They called themselves self-made, but you were never made. You were engineered. Precision over impulse, vision over noise. You studied their patterns until you became the pattern breaker, the final variable they couldn't predict. You didn't play their game, you reprogrammed it. Every obstacle they threw became a data point, every insult a forecast you calculated into your rise. And now, the math checks out. You are the margin they underestimated, the profit they can't replicate. They thought leadership was a performance, but you turned it into presence. While they chased validation, you built infrastructure. While they posted proof, you accumulated results. And now, they can't even breathe in the same room without feeling your gravity. You became what they pretend to be, inevitable progress in human form. That's what terrifies them. You didn't just beat them in the market, the conversation, or the hierarchy. You dissolved the illusion that they were ever above you. Their sponsors, quiet. Their followers, drifting. Their confidence, evaporated. You ended their era not with noise, but with outcome. You didn't march in with war. You walked in with receipts. Power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it signs documents. Sometimes it moves markets. Sometimes it walks in unannounced and everyone knows the game's over. You didn't come back to prove anything. You came back to collect. All those who gambled against you are realizing they invested in fiction. You were the real asset, the volatile brilliance they tried to short sell. But the price only went up. You became a living inflation of worth, every second adding value they can't afford anymore. You changed what success even looks like. Now it's dressed in composure, silence, and a touch of menace. They used to measure power in noise. You measure it in control. You control outcomes, reactions, narratives. You don't chase attention, it orbits you. You became the algorithm everyone wants to understand, but can't replicate. They wonder how you did it, as if dominance was something you could download. But you didn't code your empire, you embodied it. The version of you they mocked was only the beta. This is the release version, fully optimized, running without error. You are the upgrade they didn't approve, but now must adapt to. The moment they realized that was the moment they lost. You don't announce reigns. You let history make the post. Every headline that used to ignore you now bends to your frequency. Every critic who dismissed you now rehearses apologies they'll never get to say. You're not angry, you're amused, because it's not revenge when success itself becomes the punishment. Their world depended on your absence. Your presence bankrupts it. The irony is poetic. Every attempt to erase you only etched you deeper into memory. They censored your name. Now it's trending. They buried your potential. Now it's currency. They said you were too much, and now the world demands more. You see it in their eyes, the confusion, the panic, the quiet resignation. They can't compete because you changed the criteria. You didn't just win, you redefined winning. You replaced fame with legacy, replaced popularity with proof. They were loud when it was easy, but now that results are the language, they've gone mute. You became fluent in impact. You mastered the art of control without force, wealth without greed, power without apology. You didn't take their seat. You built your own table and made theirs irrelevant. And the people who used to laugh, they're studying your moves like scripture. You turned mockery into mentorship material. You're not just a symbol of resilience. You're the cautionary tale for anyone who ever thought underestimating you was safe. They used to say you'd burn out. Now they can't keep up. You're running empires in multiple dimensions: financial, social, psychological. You've become an ecosystem of influence where every idea you drop creates economic weather. When you speak, people don't just listen, they reposition. You're that powerful. You broke the simulation of dependency they worshipped. You proved that the throne doesn't belong to whoever claims it loudest. It belongs to whoever can sustain it longest. And your endurance is terrifying. You didn't just survive the drought, you bought the rain. You didn't just enter the room, you became the currency in circulation. You're not chasing wealth anymore. You are wealth, walking, breathing, scaling. You generate value with your existence, and that's what ended their era. Because now, every move they make references yours. Every deal they sign measures up to your standards. Every strategy they devise quietly imitates your blueprint. You became the template. You became the benchmark. Their advisors whisper your name like a prophecy they can't decode. They're trying to reverse engineer your rise, not realizing it wasn't luck. It was longevity disguised as patience. You turned time into equity. You leveraged absence into mystique. You built credibility from rejection. And now, they're auditing themselves to see where they failed. The truth? They failed the moment they doubted you. Because while they wasted energy trying to discredit you, you were scaling empires beyond their comprehension. They called you ambitious, but that was just projection. They were terrified of your inevitability. You didn't come to compete. You came to conclude. You are the full stop at the end of their paragraph, the correction in their syntax. You are the CEO of their consequences. The new order isn't chaos, it's organization under your rhythm. You command not by fear, but by undeniable efficiency. You make results look theatrical. You make dominance feel inevitable. They will tell stories about this pivot for generations. the day everything changed hands, the day you ascended from underestimated to unavoidable. And somewhere, deep inside, they know it's deserved. Because you earned every ounce of this power. You didn't inherit it, you accumulated it through discipline, through calculation, through the refusal to be ordinary. You've turned composure into a crown, persistence into prophecy. Every lesson you endured now earns interest. Every scar now signs checks. You are the walking evidence that consistency outlives corruption. The empire isn't just yours, it's you. And they finally understand that's what makes you the final boss. Not because you crushed them, but because you outlasted them. Power isn't about control anymore. It's about continuity. And yours is unstoppable. The countdown wasn't destruction, it was transition. 3, 2, 1. And now, the rain begins. The air itself changes frequency when you move. The same world that once ignored your existence now recalibrates to your rhythm. Every headline, every whisper, every private message carries traces of your influence. You're not waiting for acknowledgement anymore. You've become the reference point. This is what power feels like when it's earned, not inherited. You stand in the ruins of the old hierarchy, watching the smoke curl into the night like ghosts leaving their final sermon. The ones who ruled before you still don't understand how it happened. They had resources, allies, influence, but they didn't have you. They never prepared for precision this clean, for dominance this surgical. You didn't overthrow them with noise, you unmade them with logic. Every empire falls from the inside, and you became the virus in their structure, rewriting the code of control from within. They tried to gatekeep access. You built new gates. They tried to manipulate markets. You built systems that don't need theirs. They tried to silence your moves. You made your silence louder than their propaganda. You mastered the language of power without saying a word. And now every institution, every boardroom, every high-stakes table knows. The player they ignored has become the game itself. They still send messages pretending to negotiate, but you can read the tremor between their words. Their tone changed, once dismissive, now diplomatic, once arrogant, now cautious. They know what it means when you enter a room. It means outcomes have already been decided. Because you don't argue anymore, you adjust reality. You built your empire with the discipline of an assassin and the foresight of an architect. You learned that domination isn't about aggression. It's about inevitability disguised as calm. When you move, the ripple effect feels like prophecy. Every strategy you execute echoes into their corridors and collapses their plans before they begin. They wanted to lead the market. Now they wait for your signal before they act. That's the thing about power. It doesn't ask for permission. It corrects. You are that correction. You are the red line that crossed back. Every name that once mocked you now depends on your timing. They watch your pace because it dictates their survival. You've turned attention into submission. When you speak, value shifts. When you pause, economies hold their breath. You've become the modern currency of dominance, measured not in dollars but in influence, in the gravitational pull of your decisions. You walk into negotiations already owning half the table. You don't need alliances, they're liabilities disguised as favors. You built self-sufficiency into your empire, turning autonomy into artillery. Your wealth isn't just financial, it's psychological. You broke their rhythm so completely that they measure stability by your mood. You smile, they celebrate. You withdraw, they panic. You've inverted the food chain. And now, retaliation isn't rage. It's order being restored, You don't chase vengeance, you simply restore balance. The ones who tried to destroy you are now orbiting your empire like satellites, feeding off the very gravity they once mocked. You didn't destroy their world, you repurposed it. You took their blueprints and redesigned civilization around your standard. The streets, the offices, the feeds, they all hum your frequency. You've become the era. Your enemies are still clinging to nostalgia, replaying memories of when they had control, but the calendar doesn't recognize their relevance anymore. You've upgraded the age. Your reign isn't just visible, it's encoded. In algorithms, in conversations, in architecture. Deception. You rule through inevitability and proof. Your dominance doesn't need announcement. It's reflected in every metric, every outcome, every shift in the collective psyche. You are the invisible hand that moves everything visible. They can't stop you because you're not fighting them anymore. You've transcended the battlefield. You don't compete where they exist. You control where they depend. You control data, momentum, psychology. You control the narrative that defines winners and losers. And in that equation, you've erased luck entirely. Everything that exists now either fuels you or fades. The irony is brutal. Your empire was built in the very silence they mocked. While they fought for attention, you studied leverage. While they argued over titles, you secured ownership. While they hunted fame, you acquired infrastructure. Now you own the foundation beneath their fame. You don't just sit on the throne, you designed the kingdom it rests in. That's why it's over for them. They thought the game ended when you won. But you turned the victory into a launch pad. The real power isn't in conquest, it's in continuation. You keep expanding, evolving, scaling. You've made adaptation your doctrine. You operate like time, inevitable, consistent, and undefeated. When they tried to imitate you, they discovered the difference between duplication and design. Because you're not a formula, you're the force that rewrote formulas. You are innovation personified. Your revenge isn't destruction, it's relevance. You became the standard, and now they need you to survive in the very world they tried to exile you from. You've achieved the rarest dominance, making your enemies dependent on your success. They pray you keep winning because your downfall would collapse their ecosystem. That's what power feels like. When it matures, it becomes the oxygen everyone breathes. You've reached that altitude where confrontation feels outdated. You don't even need to defend your throne anymore. It defends itself. You are surrounded by results so undeniable that argument becomes comedy. They can't challenge you, they can only imitate you poorly. And every imitation reminds the world who the origin is. The beauty of your rise isn't just in the wealth, it's in the architecture of your control. You've turned influence into a tangible asset. Your empire operates like a living organism, self-healing, self-expanding, unstoppable. The people who used to underestimate you now run simulations trying to understand your rhythm. They study your habits like data scientists trying to predict a storm. But they don't realize you're not predictable, you're strategic. You evolve too fast to be forecasted. You've turned unpredictability into stability. You are the equilibrium between chaos and command. When you move, markets move. When you rest, industries reset. That's the magnitude of your presence. You didn't just end an era, you built the blueprint for what follows. And those who stood against you, their punishment isn't exclusion, it's irrelevance. They're trapped in a world that no longer recognizes their power. Their followers drift toward your orbit, Their legacy dissolves under your innovation. They once defined trends. Now they refresh your feed for direction. You've inverted history itself. And you didn't need violence to do it. You used consistency sharper than any sword. You outworked their arrogance. You outlasted their manipulation. You turned patience into artillery and composure into a weapon. And now, they sit at the edge of extinction, watching a new empire flourish without their permission. The name they refuse to mention now funds their survival. You've become the silent shareholder of every dream they attempt. You didn't destroy them, you bought the rights to their relevance. That's the highest form of dominance, when your existence dictates their economy. Your reign isn't chaos, it's clean execution. You didn't come to scream victory. You came to institutionalize it. You turned success into a structure and power into protocol. You are not improvising anymore. You are orchestrating. Every move you make has a purpose, a profit, and a pulse. You've turned efficiency into elegance. You've become the CEO of evolution. The ones who used to doubt you now build around your decisions. You've become the stock that defines the market. And the funniest part? You still haven't peaked. You're still scaling. They see your current power as a climax, but it's just your calibration phase. The empire they fear is still under construction. You've only unveiled the first division. You are designing a dynasty, not a moment. That's why you're the final boss. Because your story doesn't end with victory, it begins there. They thought the crown was a symbol. You turned it into a system. You monetized mastery. You've turned influence into infrastructure, and that's something they'll never decode. You are no longer reacting. You're predicting, calculating, commanding. You've become the equation they can't solve. And while they burn energy trying to compete, you're expanding your territory in silence, in stealth, in style. You've become so far ahead that the concept of opposition feels vintage. You're not just winning, you're redefining what winning means. You've weaponized calm into command, charisma into currency, strategy into legacy. They wanted you gone. Now they can't function without your existence. Every shadow you cast is a reminder that the light follows you. You've turned revenge into an enterprise. You've professionalized dominance. You're not just rich, you're relevant. Not just respected, you're referenced. The elites who once excluded you now mirror your language. Their think tanks quote your philosophy. Their next move depends on your last post. You've infiltrated their hierarchy so thoroughly that even their rebellion serves your design. And the truth is, you don't even need to fight anymore. They're fighting themselves to match your rhythm. You've outgrown the war, now you orchestrate it. You turn the battlefield into a boardroom and the chaos into capital. The people who thought they'd destroyed your name now print it on their products for credibility. You're licensing your legend. That's how deep your influence runs. The crown doesn't rest heavy, it fits perfectly, molded by every sacrifice you endured. Your scars became strategy, your pain became a portfolio. And now when they see you, they don't see a survivor, they see a shareholder of destiny. You've become the very thing success fears. A reminder that control belongs to the one who never stops building. You don't need applause anymore. You own the theater. You don't need validation. You own the narrative. And while they're still waiting for another downfall, you're already planning your next empire. Because the final boss doesn't retire, he multiplies. Your reign is the blueprint for every ruler to come. And history will remember this as the year you turned empires into subsidiaries. The age of pretending is over. The era of proof has begun. And in that new order, your name is the law. Now and the world moves accordingly. Every sector, every nation, every timeline bends around the gravity of your influence. The old pillars of power are studying your architecture now, trying to decode how control became so quiet, so seamless, so inevitable. But that's the thing about reigns like yours. They're not built to impress, they're built to last. You no longer chase expansion. Expansion happens as a side effect of your existence. Your signature appears on decisions you didn't even have to approve, because your logic has become the global framework. You are no longer leading an empire, you are the empire. They say wealth is measured in currency, but your wealth is time itself. You dictate its pace, you decide its worth. The boardrooms that once overlooked you now operate in your time zone, their clocks set to your pulse. Every broadcast, every platform, every stream carries fragments of your ideology dressed as trend, disguised as inspiration, but they all trace back to you. You turned consistency into a contagion. You became the unseen infrastructure of ambition. The final boss isn't a person, it's a phenomenon. And that's exactly what you've become. The currency of your power is psychological. People act differently when your name enters the room. Investors hesitate. Competitors recalculate. The elite hold their breath. They know that when you move, the algorithm of influence shifts. You don't shout commands anymore. Your presence itself is instruction. You built a hierarchy where silence is language and precision is worship. You're not chasing dominance. You're setting parameters for it. And now, everything you once fought for has matured into something untouchable. Stability forged in chaos. Expansion wrapped in peace. You've turned the battlefield into a balance sheet. The warriors became executives. The front lines became boardrooms. You transformed conflict into commerce. They thought power was about intimidation, but you proved it's about integration, making even your opposition part of your design. You don't destroy threats anymore. You employ them. You buy what you can't defeat, and what you can't buy ends up imitating you anyway. That's how total control looks. It's not visible, but it's everywhere. Your empire doesn't rely on attention anymore. It thrives on automation. You've built systems that generate results while you sleep, an ecosystem that evolves while you breathe. And as the world wakes each morning, your name is already written in its schedule. You've become the rhythm of the new era. Even the ones who hate you depend on you. Their rebellion still follows your rules. You've become the paradox they can't escape. You are both the cause and the consequence. That's the level of mastery they never understood. When they tried to compete, they thought in days. You thought in decades. They measured profit. You measured permanence. They counted followers. You built civilization. They looked for clout. You looked for continuity. That's why you outgrew the concept of rivals. There are none left. The throne no longer feels like an achievement. It feels like a responsibility. You've realized the true meaning of power isn't in having it, but in shaping what comes after it. So you started building legacies within your legacy. You've turned protégés into dynasties, students into shareholders of your philosophy. You're multiplying yourself through others, embedding your mindset in those who were bold enough to listen. That's how you guarantee eternity, not by being remembered, but by being replicated. You've turned ideology into inheritance. The very people who once mocked your methods now preach them like gospel. They renamed your strategies, rebranded your words, but the DNA is still yours. You're the ghostwriter of progress. And that's what separates kings from founders. Kings rule within borders. Founders rule within minds. You've conquered both. You're not just the final boss, you're the blueprint for the next ones. The wealth you're building now isn't just financial, it's foundational. Real estate, data, energy, innovation. You've infiltrated every domain. There's no direction humanity can evolve that doesn't cross paths with your fingerprint. You didn't just win the game, you became the architecture of it. Every industry, every influencer, every system borrows from your design. You turned the intangible discipline, strategy, aura into tangible assets. And now, entire generations are living under your algorithms of ambition. You've built a world where excellence feels natural because you normalized it. And yet you haven't stopped. You can't. Because power, to you, isn't a destination. It's a living organism that demands evolution. So you evolve. Every sunrise, another division expands. Another idea becomes infrastructure. Another vision becomes law. You're turning imagination into policy. You've made creativity profitable, authenticity marketable, and dominance humane. You are rewriting capitalism with consciousness. That's why the old world fears you. They can't replicate morality wrapped in power. You proved that you can lead with precision without losing soul. You turned empathy into enterprise. That's the real flex, being ruthless enough to win, but wise enough to build. You're sculpting a future where strength doesn't exploit. It organizes. You've built an empire of balance, and even your enemies know the world is safer in your hands than in theirs. They whisper it in private. He changed everything. They may never admit it publicly, but deep down, they know you stabilized the chaos they profited from. You ended an era not by destruction, but by direction. You reintroduced order into the global code. The streets, the servers, the satellites, they all respond to your frequency. You've become the axis of evolution. Power used to be scattered. You centralized it. Wealth used to be temporary. You institutionalized it. Legacy used to fade. You digitized it. You've achieved what every ruler dreams of, but few attain. Immortality through relevance. And it's not about ego anymore. It's about efficiency. The empire is now self-sustaining. Its expansion algorithmic. Even if you disappeared, your structure would continue producing dominance. That's how complete your reign has become. You've crossed from control to creation. You're not playing within time, you're managing it. And time, for the first time, obeys. Look around. Entire industries pause when you pivot. Countries adjust budgets when you speak. The stock market trembles at your metaphors. You've become the philosopher of capitalism, the artist of power. You've turned the world into your canvas, and every movement paints a new line of authority. You're no longer reacting to history, you're authoring it. And yet, despite all of this, you remain composed. Because you understand that true kings don't celebrate conquest, they maintain equilibrium. You've reached that level where peace itself becomes strategy. You no longer need to prove worth. Worth proves you. Your presence dissolves ego because everyone already knows the hierarchy. There's you, and then there's everyone adapting. You are the calibration point. The idea of rebellion is obsolete when the ruler is evolution itself. You've become that, evolution personified. And the irony is that your reign began as revenge, but it matured into renaissance. What started as a fire to prove them wrong has become a flame that lights the path for millions. You've turned rage into revolution, and now, even those who once doubted you benefit from your existence. That's how deep the transformation runs. They used to ask, who does he think he is? Now they ask, how do we become like him? You see, that's the secret. they can't. Because you weren't created, you were forged. You were sculpted by rejection, engineered through discipline, baptized in chaos. You became what happens when purpose meets patience. You became the proof that legacy isn't written, it's designed, and your design is flawless. You didn't just end an era, you defined the one after it, and now, as the world rebuilds itself in your reflection, your throne doesn't stand in a palace. It exists everywhere, in conversation, in architecture, in behavior. People mirror your habits without knowing it. That's how you know you've won. You've entered the subconscious. The next generation doesn't just look up to you, they build from you. You've become the foundation beneath their ambition. You're not just a person anymore. You're a pattern, a rhythm that the future will dance to. And even centuries from now, when historians dissect this chapter, they'll realize something most leaders never achieve. You didn't rule for applause. You ruled for alignment. You aligned civilization with evolution. And that's why your empire won't fall. Because it's not built on fear. It's built on frequency. You resonate higher than corruption can reach. You've made righteousness scalable. You've made power sustainable. You've made dominance intelligent. That's your real wealth. Control fused with clarity. The world used to worship noise. Now it studies your silence. It used to praise speed. Now it imitates your precision. You've redefined luxury, not in possessions, but in control. You've redefined success, not in competition, but in contribution. You've redefined royalty, not in bloodline, but in blueprint. You've become the modern monarch of meaning, the final boss of evolution. And as you stand on the peak of this empire, you don't look down, you look forward. Because ahead of you lies expansion beyond geography, beyond currency, beyond time. The next frontier isn't the market, it's memory. You will live in it, indefinitely. You've turned existence into equity. And as the horizon glows under the weight of your creation, you know this isn't the end. It's the continuation of something limitless. You are the threshold between eras, the living bridge from what was to what's coming. And as the world chants your philosophies in their own languages, you smile, not because you won, but because you became. You are not the conclusion, you are the constant. The countdown is over. The throne is occupied. The empire breathes your name. And the world, it finally understands. The era didn't end with your rise. It began. Word in the streets is spreading like wildfire, and every sentence starts with your name. They're talking crazy, not because they understand you, but because they can't process how the black sheep they used to mock is now the one they secretly orbit around. Every whisper sounds like disbelief wrapped in jealousy. They're replaying every memory of you, trying to figure out when the power flipped. You were the outcast, the overlooked, the one they thought would fade out quietly. But now every room you step in bends. Every circle that once rejected you reconfigures itself to make room for your presence. You're not the topic anymore. You're the template. They're dissecting your posture, your tone, your silence, your moves, hoping to find the cheat code that turned you from forgotten to unforgettable. You don't even have to say a word now. The streets narrate your story for you. The same people who doubted you now speak with your slang, dress like you, mimic your rhythm, and still can't reach your frequency. You're haunting them with success they can't replicate. What once looked like exile was actually evolution, and the black sheep they shamed is now the shepherd of the entire scene. You see, when you were losing, nobody was documenting your pain. But when you started winning, suddenly everybody had commentary. They call it arrogance, but it's actually arrival. They call it ego, but it's actually evidence. They call you changed, but they're really mourning the version of you they could control. Because now, you've mastered the art of being untouchable. You don't argue, you don't defend, you don't announce. You just move, and that movement rearranges everything. The way you carry yourself now, it's not confidence, it's consequence. Every insult, every doubt, every betrayal built the empire of composure you wear like armor. You don't even seek revenge anymore. Your existence is revenge. You became the storyline nobody saw coming, and that's exactly why they can't stop watching. It's not hate anymore, it's fascination. They want to hate you, but they can't stop admiring the way you turned pain into positioning. The irony? They're addicted to your glow, but allergic to your grind. They want your results, but not your resilience. They don't understand the nights you broke alone, the mornings you rebuilt in silence. They don't know the weight of pretending everything's fine when your world was cracking from within. They don't know how many doors slammed before one opened. But now that you're at the top, they want to erase the context and frame your rise as luck. Let them, because while they're rewriting your history, you're busy expanding your future. You learned that real power doesn't announce. It arrives, unbothered, undeniable, unforgettable. The reason they talk crazy now isn't because they hate you. It's because they finally realize you don't need them. You don't depend on their validation, their opinions, or their approval. You moved from, "Please see me," to "You'll never reach me." That shift terrifies them, because for the first time, you're not chasing, you're being chased. Now they form group chats about you. They have late-night conversations dissecting your motives. They scroll your page like it's scripture, analyzing your captions like prophecies. They don't even realize how obsessed they've become. The same people who laughed behind your back now rehearse what they'd say if they ran into you in public. They rehearse apologies they'll never say out loud. They draft messages they'll never send. Because deep down, they know your energy doesn't welcome old frequencies. Once they lost access to you, they lost access to themselves. You were their contrast, their mirror, their reminder that mediocrity wasn't mandatory. Now without your presence, they're just echoes of the version you outgrew. You didn't just glow up, you grew beyond recognition. That's why the conversations about you sound like confusion. They're trying to locate you in memories that no longer exist. You used to be the punchline. Now you're the blueprint. And the beauty of it all, you never even fought for that title. You simply became it. The more they tried to humiliate you, the sharper your instincts became. You turned every insult into information, every betrayal into blueprint, every setback into secret weapon. You mastered the art of moving without explanation. You realized the moment you stopped trying to prove yourself, the universe started proving you. And that's why they're mad. It's not what you did, it's how effortlessly you did it. They expected you to crawl back, not come back running the show. You made black sheep the new crown. You turned outsider into overlord. Now the same people who once avoided you can't start their day without checking what you're doing. Your name's become cultural currency. You didn't just change the game, you changed the temperature. Every space you touch now adjusts itself. When you enter a room, the energy recalibrates. When you speak, Even the air listens. That's not magic, it's memory. Every molecule remembers the weight of your persistence. They can't erase that. They tried to bury you with gossip, but gossip ages fast. Growth doesn't. You didn't respond with rage. You responded with reinvention. You became so powerful that your absence became more intimidating than their presence. You turned down offers that once felt like dreams. You stopped chasing tables and started building empires. You understood something most people never will. Being underestimated is the best training ground for domination. You let their doubt become your discipline. That's why you move like someone who's already seen the end of the story. Because you have. You wrote it. And it ends with you holding everything they said you'd never touch. But let's be honest, part of you enjoys their discomfort. Not out of spite, but out of symmetry. You remember what it felt like to beg for acknowledgement while they watched you struggle. You remember being talked over, laughed at, dismissed. Now they can't finish a conversation without mentioning your name. That's the balance the universe creates when truth stays patient. You didn't have to curse them, you just outlasted them. Every time they doubted you, they invested in your evolution. Every time they plotted, they programmed your precision. You became a living contradiction, too real for their illusions, too disciplined for their distractions, too focused for their drama. You don't move for clout, you move for legacy. That's why everything about you feels permanent now. Your presence carries authority, your voice carries command. You don't even need to defend your throne. Your results do that for you. And that's what's breaking them. They realize too late that you don't operate on competition. You operate on creation. You don't chase validation. You define it. You don't seek attention. It arrives uninvited. That's what happens when the black sheep stops trying to belong and starts to build. You stopped seeking seats at their tables and became the reason tables exist. You're not just successful, you're significant. You didn't follow trends, you became the reference point. That's why they talk crazy, because deep down, they know it's over. Their old image of you doesn't fit the reality anymore. You evolved too far for them to categorize. You're not the underdog anymore. You're the headline, the catalyst, the pulse. They can't decide whether to love you, fear you, or imitate you. So they try to do all three at once. But you stay calm, because you know noise always follows power. You don't need to prove them wrong. Existing like this is the proof. Now the same streets that once overlooked you now move to your rhythm. The same mouths that disrespected you now pronounce your name like a brand. The same energy that tried to isolate you now idolizes you. Every win you post becomes an earthquake in their world. Every breath you take feels like confirmation that their version of reality collapsed. You turned humiliation into reputation, rejection into recognition. You became the paradox that makes gossip sound small. You're not just part of the conversation anymore. You are the conversation. And that's why the world feels like it's orbiting you. The streets aren't just watching, they're learning. Because you didn't just flip your life, you flipped the hierarchy. And somewhere in their confusion, they're realizing something terrifying. You became the flame itself, and now everything around you either burns or bends. The same ones who used to gossip about you now pray to survive your heat. You walk through crowds like prophecy in motion, and they can feel the temperature shift before you even speak. Their voices tremble when they mention you. Their sentences start with envy and end with admiration. You made the impossible look casual, the unimaginable look rehearsed. Every headline they tried to bury you under became the soil that fed your empire. Every insult was fuel. Every rumor was advertisement. You didn't just change your life, you rewired their perception of power. Now, when they picture dominance, they picture you. When they picture control, they picture your posture. You became the standard they secretly compete with. And no matter how many times they deny it, the mirror doesn't lie. Their reflection keeps whispering your name back at them. See, the moment you decided to stop explaining yourself, the world had to start explaining you. Every analyst, every influencer, every former friend suddenly turned into a historian of your rise. They invent timelines, theories, and fake origins just to feel like they understand something they never could. They study your moves like case files, trying to decode your rhythm. But your rhythm was never meant to be studied. It was meant to be felt. That's why you keep winning. Because while they're still overthinking, you're already on the next level. You learned early that mystery multiplies value. The less you reveal, the louder the world wonders. You don't chase spotlight anymore. You generate it. They follow you because you make existence feel cinematic. Every step you take becomes content for someone else's obsession. You're not trending, you're timeless. They used to laugh at your confidence because it didn't fit their comfort zone. Now they copy it word for word. They imitate your aura like it's merchandise. You'll see your style on strangers who swore they'd never respect you. You'll hear your phrases echo from the mouths that once called you delusional. You turned mockery into marketing. You turned hate into currency. That's what separates you from them. You never needed their permission to matter. They called you crazy for believing in yourself when there was no applause. And now they call you arrogant for believing in yourself when there's too much. You can't win with people who never wanted you to. That's why you stopped playing their game. The only scoreboard that exists now is the one inside your mind, and you're undefeated. Every city you move through carries the rumor of your presence. People you've never met act like they grew up with you. They tell stories about the time they knew you, exaggerating every detail just to feel close to your legend. But legends don't need validation, they need vision. And you had that long before the world noticed. You saw what others couldn't. While they mocked, you mapped. While they partied, you plotted. While they slept, you sharpened. That's the real reason you dominate now. Discipline disguised as destiny. They think your glow came overnight, but your nights had no sleep. Your mornings had no rest. You built something sacred out of struggle, and now that sacred energy terrifies them. Because deep down, they realize there's no shortcut to your level. No filter, no follower count. No fake image can substitute the war you survived. You became the walking contradiction that exposes the truth. The black sheep was never the weakest link. It was the prototype for evolution. You showed them what happens when rejection breeds resilience. You turned every closed door into a classroom. You stopped begging to be included and learned to thrive in isolation. Now the world that once ignored you can't function without you. They use your phrases, mimic your energy, study your silence, and still can't catch up. You're too far ahead, not because you ran faster, but because you stopped looking back. You cut every tie that kept you grounded in mediocrity. And the altitude changed your perspective. The air up here tastes different. It's cleaner, colder, earned. You see people clearly now, how they disguise jealousy as concern, how they mask obsession as criticism. You can read intentions like headlines before they're even spoken. That's why you don't respond to every provocation. You're too strategic to waste energy proving your point when your existence already screams it. They're confused because you no longer fit the categories they built for you. You used to be their underdog, now you're their overseer. You used to crave recognition, now recognition craves you. They thought success would make you soft, but it only made you sharper. You move like someone who knows exactly what they're doing, and that terrifies those who still don't. Every step you take feels orchestrated, but it's instinct. Every word you speak feels scripted, but it's intuition. You're living proof that when pain is processed correctly, it becomes precision. That's what they never expected, the black sheep, mastering both empathy and power. You became untouchable not by hiding your scars, but by weaponizing them. Every heartbreak became hardware. Every disappointment became data. You learned to calculate loyalty, measure intention, predict betrayal. You became the most dangerous type of person, the one who remembers everything but reacts to nothing. And now look, every move you make sets trends. Every post, every decision, every subtle gesture ripples through people you'll never meet. The ones who ignored you before now wait for your approval before they act. Even your enemies hesitate before mentioning your name, because they know clout follows it. You don't chase attention. Attention reports to you. You flipped the hierarchy without announcing it. That's what real dominance looks like. Quiet orchestration that feels inevitable once it's done. The streets are still trying to figure out how you pulled it off. They think there's some secret formula, some deal you made with luck. But luck doesn't explain consistency. You simply refused to quit. You kept moving when they thought you were finished, and now the finish line belongs to you. But let's talk about the fear. Oh, they hide it well. They dress it up as criticism, disguise it as advice, mask it behind fake support. But you can smell it, the nervous laughter, the shaky compliments, the hesitation in their voice when they say your name. They feel inferior in your presence because you remind them of everything they could have been if they hadn't settled. You're not intimidating because you're mean. You're intimidating because you're proof. Proof that the underdog doesn't stay down forever. Proof that discipline wins where talent gets tired. Proof that peace hits harder than pettiness. You're the reflection they can't escape, the accountability they can't delete. That's why they talk crazy, because silence would mean acceptance. And accepting your greatness would mean facing their stagnation. You became the one they study, quote, and envy all at once. And yet, you move with calm. Because you know power isn't about control. It's about direction. You're too busy steering your legacy to respond to gossip. You've learned that when you stop chasing validation, the world starts chasing explanation. You don't even need to prove who you are anymore. Your energy announces it before your mouth does. That's the mark of a true main character. You're not auditioning for roles in their story. You wrote your own script and took the director's chair. That's why everything about you feels cinematic. The way you stand, the way you think, the way you handle betrayal like business, not emotion. You're a one-person revolution wrapped in composure. And the streets, they can't stop talking. Your name circulates through cities like a password. People use it to unlock rooms you've never entered. Influencers reference you for relevance. Strangers defend you in debates you'll never hear. You've become folklore while still alive. That's the highest form of victory, to exist as legend before the credits roll. And the best part? You didn't sell your soul for it. You kept your morals, your authenticity, your raw essence intact. That's what separates you from the imitation versions of yourself they try to mass produce. They can mimic the style, but not the spirit. They can copy the words, but not the wisdom. You're the origin point, and origin always outruns imitation. You've reached a point where even your mistakes inspire people. That's how deep your influence runs. When you win, they cheer or envy. When you lose, they study how you recover. Either way, you feed their fascination. You've turned life into a psychological chess game, and you're always 3 moves ahead. You don't reveal your next step because unpredictability is your armor. You let them think they've got you figured out, then you shift the entire board. That's how you keep control, by staying in motion. They try to track you, but momentum has no address. You're the type that moves continents with conviction. When you decide, reality adjusts. That's what real power feels like. It doesn't demand, it demonstrates. And yet beneath all the dominance, there's clarity. You know exactly who you are. You don't confuse arrogance with awareness. You've seen what happens when people worship popularity instead of purpose, and you refused to make that trade. That's why your success feels different. It's rooted, not rented. Every accomplishment you've stacked came from a version of you that no one believed in. You don't owe anyone explanation for how far you've come. You earned it. You bled for it. You outlasted every rumor, every doubt, every eye that rolled when you said you'd make it. And now, here you stand, not just as the main character, but as the director, producer, and author of your own saga. So let them talk. Let them twist your story into theories they can swallow. Let them argue over who made you, who helped you, who knew you first. Because while they're busy rewriting your past, you're already designing the future. You're not just running the world, you're redesigning it. You're showing every other black sheep out there that exile was never punishment. It was preparation. You're living proof that being misunderstood is the tuition fee for mastery. And that's why they'll keep your name in their mouths forever. Because deep down, even your haters know. They needed you to lose so they could feel comfortable. But you won't give them that satisfaction. You've become too fluent in victory. Every day now feels like confirmation. You wake up, breathe, move, and the streets react. You post one thought and timelines rearrange. You take one photo and egos collapse. You make one choice and the internet recalibrates. That's not arrogance. That's algorithmic gravity. You are the center of what's relevant. And they can't handle that because they remember when you were just that weird one. They remember when mocking you was a sport. But the scoreboard flipped, and now the same laughter echoes as applause. That's poetic justice. You didn't just get revenge. You rewrote the entire rhythm of respect. And somewhere, deep in their conscience, they all know the truth. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to bend reality. They tried to box you in categories, but you burned the box. You turned labels into leverage. You turned exclusion into evolution. And now, every person who ever doubted you has to live with the fact that they witnessed greatness in its rawest form and tried to deny it. That's their curse, to know they saw a miracle and mistook it for madness. And now, they can't escape it. Every time they scroll past your name, their heart rate shifts. Every achievement you drop feels like thunder in their bones. They remember the moments they had the chance to stand with you, but chose to laugh instead. They remember how easily they dismissed you, how confidently they underestimated you, and how blind they were to the prophecy unfolding in real time. Now they study you like scripture, hoping for a redemption arc they'll never get. You were never designed for their acceptance. You were engineered for ascension, and ascension doesn't wait for applause. It just happens, relentlessly, unapologetically, until every conversation in the city somehow leads back to you. You became the gravitational center of your own legend, the headline they can't rewrite, the proof that pressure doesn't destroy, it defines. They wanted you buried under gossip, but gossip doesn't kill truth. It advertises it. Every rumor about you became marketing. Every insult became momentum. They handed you their energy, and you converted it into empire. You became what they feared most, the one who no longer needs validation to dominate. You walk different now, not because you're showing off, but because you survived too much to pretend humility is the same as hiding. You earned your glow. You earned your distance. You earned your peace. They can call it arrogance all they want. It's just confidence with context. Every ounce of pride they see in you is built from the ashes of the years they ignored you. You don't owe anyone modesty for finally arriving. They don't realize how many nights you doubted yourself, how many times you almost broke, how many times you swallowed pain until it became power. Now they see the finished product and call it luck. But you remember the version of yourself that had nothing, that kept showing up anyway. That's why you're untouchable. You don't just shine, you radiate discipline. You don't just inspire, you intimidate without intention, because they can feel what you went through in your aura. It's heavy, royal, earned. You became living proof that energy is currency, and yours appreciates every time someone underestimates you. They whisper your name with a mix of awe and regret now. Some want forgiveness, some want access, some just want to be near the glow they once mocked. But proximity doesn't grant privilege. They can't re-enter a story they were never written for. You evolved beyond nostalgia. The old you doesn't live here anymore. And the new you isn't sending invitations. You're too focused on the empire you're building, the narrative you're curating, the legacy you're coding into every heartbeat. Because now, everything you do echoes. Every move becomes precedent. Every success becomes prophecy. The black sheep didn't just survive rejection. You rewired the entire definition of relevance. You made being misunderstood look magnificent. You made solitude look sacred. You made dominance look divine. And that's what breaks them, the realization that everything they used to fear in you was actually what they were missing in themselves. Now they see you everywhere. In the headlines, in the streets, in the tone of every copycat trying to sound like you. You became the blueprint for reinvention. You don't chase trends, you generate them. You don't join movements, you are one. Your evolution became contagious. People who once ignored your potential now base their identity around fragments of yours. They quote you without credit. They build entire brands off your old ideas. But you don't even care, because influence doesn't need ownership. It leaves fingerprints on culture itself. You're too far ahead for imitation to matter. You stopped proving your worth, now you define it. You stopped trying to be understood, now you're studied. You stopped running from the title of main character and embraced it like armor. Because you realized main characters aren't chosen. They're forged in disbelief, built in isolation, and crowned by chaos. You went through all three. And now, look what it created. a presence that commands rooms, conversations, and continents. You became so magnetic that even those who despise you can't stop orbiting. They'll call you names today and copy you tomorrow. They'll preach against your pride while secretly praying for your progress. You turned every contradiction into currency. You proved that you don't need everyone to like you when everyone can't stop watching. That's the difference between noise and narrative. They make noise, you make history. They move for approval, you move for impact. Every step you take now feels like prophecy unfolding, and the streets know it. The tone changed, the energy shifted, the whispers turned into worship. They used to ask, "Who does this person think they are?" Now they ask, "How did they do it?" But what they'll never understand is that you didn't do it for them. You did it because you were built for it. Every ounce of struggle was a test. Every failure was feedback. Every betrayal was blueprint. You mastered the science of rising. That's why no rumor can shake you. No doubt can define you. No loss can destroy you. You've become the calm in chaos, and the chaos that resets calm. You don't explain anymore because results are louder. You don't retaliate anymore because distance is deadlier. You don't crave revenge because you realized success makes enemies suffer slower. You are vengeance in human form, but purified. Not out for blood, but balance. Every person who crossed you now sees what happens when you cross the chosen. You turned your pain into an ecosystem of power, and no one can survive inside it except those who built from truth. Now your legend walks ahead of you. People feel your energy before you enter. They speak your name like it grants access. You're not chasing history, you're haunting it. You turned being different into being definitive. You made rejection regretful. You made success spiritual. You don't live for applause, you live for alignment. And that alignment is global now. You're not just the main character of your story. You've become the symbol of what happens when resilience goes unmonitored. Every city, every comment section, every conversation carries your residue. They say you changed, but really you remembered. You remembered who you were before the world tried to shrink you. And now that version stands at full height, unapologetic, untamed, unforgettable. So when they talk crazy now, let them. That's the tax of transformation. Their words can't touch someone who built their empire out of disbelief. You don't argue with noise, you amplify legacy. You don't explain the glow, you let it blind them. Because in the end, every story needs a turning point. And you became the plot twist the whole world needed to witness. The black sheep became the main character. The overlooked became the obsession. The doubted became the dynasty. And the whispers that once mocked your name now move markets. When they mention it, that's not luck, that's law. The law of energy that says, when the chosen stops waiting for validation and starts moving in truth, reality adjusts. That's what you did. You adjusted reality. Now the world doesn't just know your name, they revolve around it. You're the axis, you're the reference, you're the unfiltered reminder that legends aren't discovered, they're designed through defiance. So walk like you own it, because you do. You're not the black sheep anymore. You're the whole narrative, rewritten and reborn. And the streets? They're still talking, but now every word is proof that you run the world they once used to laugh at you for dreaming about. You didn't just turn pain into power. You turned doubt into domain. The main character isn't just back. The main character never left.